I have no idea. It is the Petland Show. Good Sunday morning. Positively Petland Show every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. I'm Jerry Lawler on 800 KXIC, and we are joined by Ron Solsrud from Petland in Iowa City. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning.
And so we've had a couple shows off. You've been traveling about doing your thing. Where has the vehicle taken you over the past few weeks?
Oh, I think over that, just the travel portions, I think I had logged over 40 hours in that car. Iowa State took them out to some breeders. They had a veterinarian class over the summer that wanted to get out and see different. I think they were seeing different farms and, cattle and pig and all that. And we contacted them a while ago and said, hey, would you like to come out and see the dog breeders and see what they're all about? And they went, holy cow.
And this is the Iowa State University.
Yes. Yeah. They're veterinarian. These were third-year veterinarian students. So they're done with their undergrad, onto their graduate work, third year. So they're 1 year out from going into the big world. And so that was a lot of fun talking with them about that, because we covered everything from history of breeders to where are we at today. Interesting thing, we should do a show on history of breeders and, the whole morphism that occurred from the Depression and prior to that to where we're at right now, which is an incredible place because these breeders have really kicked up the pace on, they look like nicer than my kitchen. The kennels do. It's just really beautiful what they're doing. So we went through that, and then we did a trip also. It was a trip that University of Iowa came into the store and actually toured our store. And we do this on an annual basis for a veterinarian class at the University of Iowa. And again, you don't associate University of Iowa with veterinarian degrees, I guess, but they do have classes, correct? Yes. I believe it's like a continuing education program that they have. So the veterinarians, we have them from all over the United States come into Iowa City here over the summer, and I'm sure they do something over the normal semester periods as well. So that was one. And then we went down to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and did some training down there as well. That was more training for my staff. We were going down there and getting inspired. There is a store down there that just is incredible in how they help their customers. And that was most of the driving. 13 hours down, 13 hours back. We spent 3 days total.
I've made the drive down to Daytona, and that's
24.
It's further on down, but once you get down through, Tennessee and then heading into Atlanta and that area, that is a stretch of a drive.
Yes. Oh, I remember as a kid, we'd drive down. There was 5 of us kids, so there was no flying anywhere. And once we hit Florida, we were all giddy because we tried to do it all in one take, And so we'd hit Florida, and us kids would be kind of waking up from the groggy, try to sleep during the night thing. We're in Florida, kind of thing. And it was probably just like a vacation movie or whatever. Because then 2 hours later, yeah, we're in Florida. And then 4 hours later, Florida.
Yeah, right.
Where's the ocean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And then, you just keep on going. Dad, Mom, when are we going to get there? We're in Florida, aren't we?
As I get a little bit older and I start taking these longer trips with my family, it gives credit. How did our parents do that type of drive? Dad took us to Colorado and Texas and Oklahoma and all across everywhere. And it's like, man, I get tired if I drive to Des Moines.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it, but anyway.
We survived.
So the training you said down in Oklahoma, what are you brushing up on, I guess, and bringing that back to the Midwest?
I brought down there a group of leaders from our store. And so we have, this group is learning how to lead. And anybody that's been in a leadership role, after a while, you start to discover leaders. It's at the beginning of when you're out of school, you get out of school and somebody says you are a supervisor over these people or whatever that leadership role is. You go, yes, I'm going to change the world. You know that feeling. You want to go. Nope. Jerry's like, I've never had that.
Never experienced that. I'm going to tackle the world. I like to keep my circles a little bit smaller.
Your circle. So they get in there, and one of the first fallacies of leadership is I make everybody my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that, and then they trample all over you, and then you feel really bad.
That part I know about.
Yeah. So
not to turn negative.
So all those little things that you learn. So when we went down there, these are people that have been leading in the store for a short period of time. They've gone through that phase. And what I wanted them to understand is how to set boundaries for your employees and then keep them within those boundaries. And I equate it over and over and over again with parenting, because I'm 52 years old, have been through that as well. And I did have and am doing the leadership thing, but I found parenting is very similar to it, in that you got to keep them within the boundaries. And when they go outside the boundaries, there's got to be consequences.
I would agree with that. And I've had bosses over the years. I've only had 2 professions, so I haven't had a ton of different supervisors, but the better supervisors are the ones with children. That's my assumption. And the ones that don't have children sometimes come across very overbearing and very controlling and whatnot. So,
right. So
having that
nurturing,
that nurturing aspect of it certainly makes a great staff, in my opinion.
Yeah. So we had an incredible, the 3 that went down with me. We worked from morning till way into the evening. These 3 were so fired up that they had conversations on their own. I go, hey, I need 8 hours of sleep. That's just my requirement here. So I'm going to bed. They would stay up till 2 a.m. just talking about that experience that they had that day. And I just found that incredibly fun, enlightening, encouraging. It's just neat to see people catch the fire, kind of a thing. And so that was just last week. And they brought it into the store over the weekend, and it's neat to see how they implemented it. It was a little, putter, kind of a thing as far as how they were getting it going. And then all of a sudden, wham, kind of thing.
And you brought back the Georgia heat with you.
Yes, I did. How did that happen? You know what? It was colder down there than it was up here.
It's always the way. It seems like there's always a stretch that happens. But man, I'll tell you, the temps that we had last week are brutal. Are you ready to get into the amazing pet story of the week?
I want to hear the amazing pet story.
It's time for the amazing pet story of the week.
Do you often, let me start out with a question of my own. You always like you always like
stump the Jerry.
You always like trying to stump me. Do you think of horses as pets?
I think it's 50-50 in my brain. Never had
some
that.
People do, and some people would consider them livestock maybe, or
utility is the other side of the coin, where they're functional. But I don't own horses or anything, and when I'm around horses, they're a pet to me. Oh, so cute, kind of a thing. And
so Norwegian researchers taught 23 horses how to express their needs using symbol boards, and horses loved it. It's something that we all wish that our pets would do if they could only tell us what they want. So in Norwegian, they're working horses, but this is from a pet perspective. Wouldn't it be nice if your dog could look at a symbol and say, hey, I want to go out, or if the cat wants to be fed in the morning or whatever? Well, that's exactly what a group of breeders at a Norwegian University of Life Sciences of 23 steeds have accomplished in 2 separate stables in Norway. Anyone who ever has had a relationship with a horse knows how intelligent they are, and they often understand what humans want. The team trained the horses for 10 to 15 minutes a day to learn the meaning of 3 symbols. After just 11 days, all 23 horses were able to recognize the meanings: blanket on, blanket off, or no change. Lazy horses. What is beautiful about that is that they are so easily to be able to learn the symbols. Horses were tested under different conditions, and it was across the board that they all understood the symbols after just 11 days. So talking about training your pets and using different means to be able to get the end result, I thought that was a unique, amazing story.
Yeah, and it's one of those, I find it also fascinating that they did a study, and there was a study on dog training recently on somebody was inferring that the dog knew more, or like, hey, we're finding out that they know this and that. Other researchers came in and said, I think you missed the point. And I love research for this reason. It's kind of a combat going back and forth. And what they found out was in the original research, they found, and I don't remember what the conclusion was, but the dogs could learn more than we ever thought before, and we're, and it's all voice or whatever. Well, they ended up going back in, redoing the training with a different trainer. And it turns out it was more visual, and the person was, the way the person was operating, the dog was reacting to it in certain ways. And so it wasn't that the dog understood, it was more reacting to certain climates. So they took the trainer away and did it monotone or whatever. And all of a sudden the dog wouldn't do it anymore.
Well, that's a good control study. Obviously.
Yeah, it's controls is trying to put that in. And obviously the first one didn't have the control. So I wonder, just that's
what exactly were the criteria with it.
And one thing that I learned from the veterinarians, Iowa State specifically, the teacher, the professor said that there is very, very little research on dogs. And if you think about it, there isn't. Even the nutritional aspects is pretty limited.
Really?
And, yeah. That's why right now there's a lot of misnomers going out there, and they say things as facts. Grain-free. Dogs require grain-free formula.
That's true of news in this day and age,
right.
Also.
And so they have yet to come out with a study that shows dogs need grain-free. We all know that they can eat grain because we've been feeding it to them for a long time. So it's not that they can't eat it. So should they eat it? And then the misnomer of, well, they weren't, in the wild, they didn't eat grain. Well, they found out that, yeah, they do. And you're like, oh, hold on. So its research is pretty minimal on that. On the dog side, most of the research actually comes from on the vaccination side, swine, cattle, horses, all of those. And then they translate it over to the dog.
And we are going to research what is the breed of the week this week.
Thanks for getting us back on path.
It's my job. What is the breed of the week?
The Shiba Inu. We already have stumped you on this one.
A little bit. I know that it's from Japan now, but yes. I don't know anything about it.
All right. We're not jumping in right now.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm just giving you a little teaser of what's coming up on the show. So what are we going to be talking about?
And then, so after the Shiba Inu, we're going to talk about the flea and tick, and we're going to go through the total program. What can I do for prevention for my cat and my dog? To prevent fleas. An ounce of prevention is worth a lot of frustration in the end. So you'll want to listen to this. Make sure your dog and your cat are protected.
The breed of the week coming up. Tips from Ron Solsrud and Petland of Iowa City. Got my foot on the accelerator this morning. No, we will take a break and we will come back with the breed of the week. It is the PAWSitively Petland Show on 800 KXIC every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. Good morning.
Roll the cameras.
I'm leaving that in.
Yeah. Right. There's somebody with a Pink Floyd shirt that came in, and I told him about it, and he gave me a history. I was like, wow, I had no idea about what the band's doing and all that.
Ready for segment 2?
I am ready.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Roll those cameras again. Keep them rolling this time.
You know I have your mic open. It is the we're just jumping straight into it. Is the
You normally cut my mic off.
Nope.
So I say things.
I'm not
they're
playing.
Always appropriate.
I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not censoring you. I'm not getting accused of anything. I'm just the host. I'm just doing my job. And it is the PAWSitively Petland Show on 800 KXIC every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. And we've already covered a bunch of topics from the amazing pet story of the week. But now we get into one of the favorite features of everybody, the breed of the week. And I thought I would mention, I know you always like pushing your website, petlandiowacity.com. If you want to find out more about any great breeds or what the services of Petland on the east side of Iowa City are, head to petlandiowacity.com.
Thank you for that. Yes,
you're welcome.
It's a very popular website. Lots and lots of people every day are hitting that one. So another one is that you might want to give a shout out, petlandcares.com. It's not only a very beautiful website, but it also talks about how we do things. If you ever have a question of, hey, where do you get your puppies from and all that, check out petlandcares.com. It's a wonderful website that gives you the history of who we are, what we do in the field every single day. And it's enlightening, to say the least. But you'll learn a lot about us there. So the Shiba Inu.
Shiba Inu.
Yeah, we're probably brutalizing that name because that's Japanese.
It's probably the American way of saying it.
Yeah, it's like we do with so many different things. So the Shiba Inu is a wonderful breed. We've got a couple of them in the store right now, and it is something that we normally have a Shiba Inu in our store because they tend to be pretty popular. I think a lot of people get drawn in because it's kind of wolf looking, but in a tiny little package. And so people like that aspect. Picture what a husky, but not the same color. So you can have a tricolor, which is mostly black with white highlights, brown legs. Then the sesame, that's that red one. Now, it's like a fox. It looks like a fox. And that's the sesame. And then creams are also a really beautiful color. And that's what we have in our store right now, some creams. So the Shiba Inu, per the AKC, some history on them. The Shiba Inu is an ancient breed of dog and is the smallest of the 6 Spitz breeds native to Japan. Archaeological excavations show that around 7,000 BC, the ancestors of today's Shiba may have accompanied the earliest immigrants to Japan. Ooh, where were they coming from? Probably the mainland. But I wonder what here we're in America. I have no clue on that migration there, but that's an interesting
7 BC. That's
7,000.
Sorry, 7,000 BC. Record keeping wasn't exactly what it is today.
No. The historical role of this independent hunter was to capture or contain game ranging from fowl and small game to wild boar, which is a thing that we see over and over and over again with most dogs. There seems to be a hunting. And then the other side of, or another huge use for dogs in the past was actually fighting. And that's the interesting, everything from fighting each other, and it was more of a sport, which is not appropriate for today's day and age, but also in wars. The Neapolitan Mastiff was a war dog. And I found that fascinating. If you were the warrior out on the field and the Neapolitan Mastiff was on your path, you're like, ah! So it's just interesting to see what all these dogs have their ancestry in. So going on, the first official efforts to define the Shiba as a distinct breed began in the late 1920s. And I would imagine that was the Americans were in on that. We like to standardize things, culminating in the breed's designation as a Japanese national treasure. The extreme economic hardship of World War II, coupled with a post-war distemper epidemic, reduced the population of the breed significantly. So it had a tough time in the early 1900s. Also, this is a shout out, keep those vaccinations up to date. The only reason why we aren't seeing distemper and rabies and all those kind of things, epidemics, is because of vaccinations. If we let that get out of line, it's always that and the other diseases that will affect our dogs and cats are all still out there. It's in the wild. And so your dog, will eat something or brush up against something or come in contact with another animal, wild animal, and be, take it on then. And that's what, is horrifying when you have to experience those. So vaccinations are really important and do a really good job.
Do you have to get those annually?
That would be a great veterinarian question. So some are annual, some are more. Some are annual on the first year and then lengthen out. So consult your veterinarian if you're questioning any of that, because they're going to look up your records and go, yeah, you are due, or nope, we're good for another year. So some form and function per AKC on the Shiba Inu. The proud and dignified Shiba is agile and well-muscled. Jerry, are you well-muscled?
I am.
Reflecting a hunting heritage encompassing a wide variety of terrain and climates. The Shiba exhibits boldness tempered with mental strength. Some Shibas may exhibit indifference and aloofness with strangers.
What a great word, aloof.
Aloofness.
I love that word.
With strangers, while others are exuberant and friendly with everyone. The Shiba is clever and resourceful and is quietly determined to accompany any desired objective. Shibas come in 3 preferred colors, which are red sesame, black, and tan, and also cream. All right, so that is the Shiba Inu. This is an independent dog. It is a shedding dog and is a very active dog. If I might have said that twice, I'm sorry. And so the Shiba...
Don't apologize. Did you get a new book?
No. Oh, no. This is still the...
Oh, yeah. Okay. Never mind. I was looking down and it looked like a brand new book, and I was like, I don't recognize that one, but it is the official AKC book.
The new complete. Yeah, if you ever wanted to get it, it's a fascinating book. If you like to read about breeds, and a lot of our audience has reflected to us that they do. This is the American Kennel Club, and it's called The New Complete Dog Book. This is the 21st edition, which I believe they still are in right now. But the Shiba Inu, if you're looking for a smaller package, a very active dog, especially for its first 2 to 5 years, this is a great dog for you. It is a shedding dog. It has what's called a double coat. So what that means is it has that coat that comes out that you see, but underneath it's shedding, but it gets accumulated underneath. And so it has this double well-insulated coat. When a Shiba goes through a shed, this is one of those you like go, something's happened. It just starts coming off. This is where a Furminator would help that process and contain it somewhat. But it is a smaller dog, so the shedding won't be as much as a golden retriever because of just the mere size of a Shiba.
And we've talked about this in the past, that with a double coat like that, the dog's temperature is still regulated the way that it's supposed to be.
I don't know how to interpret what you just said,
which is most of the time.
I will say my opinion. So
hair helps a dog regulate. Okay, maybe not.
This is my opinion, and this is only through observation, and I have yet to research this any further. Like, I don't think there's any research on this, is what it comes down to. My experience is if a dog looks like it's overheating, so it's panting, and it's not even active, chances are it's overheating. Mm-hmm. And it's the way a dog,
especially with the temps we've had recently.
You're right. So a dog can remove heat from it through its mouth, through moisture leaving its mouth. That's how heat gets out. And then a little bit on the conduction and convection through its skin. But here, as opposed to us, we sweat. Mm-hmm. Sweat is another way that we are able to quickly get rid
I see
of
what
heat.
You're saying. So primarily is through the tongue.
Through the tongue.
Right.
So now, if you take a dog that was meant for cooler climates, like the Bernese Mountain Dog is obviously a mountain dog. Now, when you bring them into the lower elevations, higher temperatures, the dog was designed to be up in those mountains. That's what it was bred for, and it acclimated to. It doesn't have that down here. So I just have seen over the years where a dog is laboring, like I don't even want to stand up, and is panting in a steady state. To me, something might be going not right there. I then saw that same dog the next day, and it got a haircut. Maybe it wasn't a total like down to the skin haircut, but it was a significant trim to get rid of some of that insulative layer. That dog acted like a puppy. One day later, same temperature. And so I just draw from that it does appear to me, my opinion, that some of these breeds, if you notice that they're laboring and stuff on those hot temperatures, then you might want to consider grooming them. And if you have any questions on this, a veterinarian would be a great resource to just double check. I don't want to hurt my dog, kind of a thing, and get it double checked to make sure that.
So getting you back on, I apologize. I tend to do that. The Shiba Inu with the double layer is shedding on that lower layer.
Right,
correct?
and so you can help them out without doing any cutting. Is with a Furminator, and what you're going to be doing is taking that underlayer out significantly, so then that insulative layer is a lot lessened on that. The dog is an independent dog. It is one of those that, hey, I can take care of myself kind of a thing. Training is key for a Shiba Inu. They are smart. They will pick it up. Let's see, I'm trying to think of some other things. Shiba Inu owners say that, all of that is definitely true for that 2 to 5 years on the front end. But mine, mellowed out and is just kind of a, hey, I want to be around kind of dog. And so it does seem to mellow out in age, just like we do. We mellow with age.
We do mellow with age.
And become more of that family dog. It is considered a family dog by far. I just want to make sure you understand there is this independence aspect to the dog. It has got a very strong hunting drive too. So don't be surprised if it came back with a little present and said, hey, look, Mom, what I found, kind of a thing. So it's a wonderful dog, very active dog. If you have that family that is very active, but I don't want to get a large breed because of whatever, get this little one and you're going to find a lot of energy packed in a smaller body, not a tiny body. And, the boys will wrestle with it, have some fun and all that kind of thing. So it's a wonderful dog in that regard.
And there it is, the Shimu. What is it called again?
It's a cartoon or something.
The Inu?
The Shiba
Inu.
Yes.
I had the Inu part. I couldn't remember the first part. And you have those at the store.
Yes, we do. Yes, we have a couple cream right now. And I believe there is a black and tan, if my memory is right, on its way in, or I'll be picking that up in another week or two. And
you can find out all of, you have almost all of them updated on petlandiowacity.com, correct?
Yes.
You stay up pretty good on that.
Yeah, we're actually on, our update is Wednesdays, Thursdays. That's when we're getting everything loaded up onto the website and getting all the information in. So by Sunday, we're all in. You're seeing what we have in there in our store right on the website.
Good. And so we've had a lot of hot temperatures over the past couple of weeks.
And moisture.
Which means that it's breeding ground for
bugs,
fleas, ticks, all things that are just uncomfortable. And not only uncomfortable for your pet, but could also cause you and your house a ton of problems if the fleas get in there.
Let's start this off. Do you have any flea and tick stories?
I do not.
You are lucky.
You've
been doing the right thing.
Yeah, we gave the pill or the shot on almost regularly. I think my Cocker Spaniel growing up at one point maybe had fleas minorly, and we got it treated pretty quickly.
Yeah, sooner.
But otherwise, no, I don't think I've ever had a tick to deal with. Now, I had a friend's Mastiff who had a nasty tick on the back of his neck, but otherwise, not personally. I haven't had a lot of experience.
Than that Lyme's disease or a possible infection, ticks are the easier of the two. And so if you see one, there is some methods to remove it, and hopefully it's right at the beginning, but it's, tweezers, and there's even some tools, and there's some other methods out there that you can look at on how to remove those fleas, but prevention is the way to go. My flea experiences when Wendy and I got married, we were young, we bought our first house, and a bird made its nest in our ductwork. It didn't have the cap on it that it's supposed to. It was a new house, and then for whatever, forgot to put it on there. And so the bird came in there, and, we were in the kitchen and we could hear it in there, and like, what is that? Kind of thing. And I look in, got the flashlight out. I go, oh, a bird made a nest, and the chicks are already hatched, and they're chirping away in there. It was so cute. Oh my goodness, it was so cute. Well, I need to take it out. No, honey, leave it in there, kind of thing. And I went, yeah, we should leave it in there. Oh my goodness, what we went through after that was like, get it out. Birds do have a lot of fleas, and they got into that ductwork. They just walked their way down the ductwork, fell right into our kitchen through some other ductwork, and infested our lower level of our house.
Yikes.
So we had no dogs, no cats. We didn't have any pet in there. We had an aquarium, kind of a thing. And it was unbelievable. Because we had no children as well at that point, we were able to use some pretty strong poisons at the end. And it was shocking to see how many dead fleas were all over our kitchen floor where you can find them.
Sure.
And so it was something that I said, you know what, I never want to experience that one again. Especially when you have kids now and the pets on top of it, you got to really limit what you can use. There, an ounce of prevention. So about, I don't know, $10 to $15 a month prevention will save you thousands of dollars of restoration, of getting it back to no fleas in your house. Thousands of dollars, but then also, they start biting you, and now you're uncomfortable. The dog or cat is definitely uncomfortable, and so there's a lot of things that you can avoid, pain to avoid.
And so $120 to $150 a year will buy you 12 ounces of prevention.
There you go. I think you did some math there.
Because you said an ounce of prevention is $10 to $15 a month.
All right.
So I just took that times 12, and $120 roughly.
Gives you 12 ounces of prevention, provided that it's yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That was a really good analogy.
I like completely throwing you off and seeing your eyes just kind of do a squirrely. What is he talking about? Stay on target.
Oh, but my techie mind went wild on that, and I said, well, how do you know that the vial is an ounce?
You're the one that qualified it and said an ounce of prevention is $10 to $15 a month.
It's a saying, Jerry.
I'm just
saying. Go with it. Okay.
I'm putting it into the realistic world.
All right, so let's talk detail here. So we're going to talk about preventive care and then a little bit on the restorative care. I'm going to also put a caveat on here. Veterinarians have some other solutions, and I'm not going to talk on those solutions because I'm not a veterinarian. But if you have some,
you just play one on radio.
No, I don't. See, that's what I'm trying not to do. But all of these products, the total flea and tick that you can get over the counter is somewhat similar to what you can get into the veterinarian, but the veterinarian might have some new technologies. So if you're struggling with it, that might be a resource. I find that if you think like a flea, you can get through the whole, if you have an infestation. But let's talk about prevention. Topical applications are the number one way that people do preventative care. And that's what, you've heard of Frontline, right? Mm-hmm. I always say, don't ever do just Frontline. If you're going to do it, do Frontline Plus, because there's additional products in there. It's more expensive. At the beginning, people were going, well, I do Frontline, but I was getting into trouble.
Of course it's more expensive. It says
it's
plus.
And it's worth the plus. So Frontline Plus has been out for a long time. In fact, they almost put the business of, what do you call it, the rug cleaners and all that kind of stuff that are out there. They used to do bug cleaning. They used to rid houses of bugs and stuff, bug prevention and all that. They almost put that whole industry out of business because 70% of their business was getting rid of the fleas for a family. So we used to have a lot bigger problem than we do today. Now we do Frontline, and there's also Advantix out there and some others that do it so well that they had to go find other business in order to stay in business. So the topical ointments work really, really well. I have found that over time, the Frontline Plus is not doing as well. More people are coming in and saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and I'm seeing a flea or two. So it's not catastrophic. And I go, here, let's switch it. My engineering background says if I switch what I'm doing as far as preventing a living thing like a flea, if I switch the strategy, I usually can get back into control. So Advantix is what I actually use in my house. It does have a repellent on it for mosquitoes, but and so I just like that the fact
and
that
the dog builds that up in their skin, and
yeah, you apply it. It actually uses both of these, Frontline and Advantix uses oils, within, they have the ingredient mixed in with the oil. You apply it to the back of your dog, right between the shoulder blades. I usually use a couple of different spots. You get it down to the skin as close as possible. Don't worry, will be on the fur and stuff. And then the oil then transmits across the rest of the dog the product for prevention. Don't wash your dog 24 hours, and I actually do 48 hours. Do not wash your dog 48 hours before or after you apply the product. It does use the oils that are existing in your dog or cat as a transmitter to get it across the whole cat or dog. And then if you go into water, you're just washing the concentrated areas away. So it just, again, diminishes the efficacy of the product. So you want to avoid that. After that, you can do moderate washing. If your dog likes to play in the water and all that kind of stuff, just know that the more you do that, the less it becomes effective and all that kind of a thing. So those are the two top. Good news is that it's somewhat inexpensive. So it's about $15 an application for those. Advantix tends to be a little cheaper. Even better news, they're both off patent. What does that mean? Generic has been introduced. So we've researched the generic. They've been out for 3 years for the Frontline Plus and 1 year for the Advantix. They're a couple of bucks cheaper, so you're going to save some money on them. They now then get it down to $10 or less per dose. You're still up there. This is one of those things where I think we scrimp a little too much sometimes. It's $10 a month. Come on, let's just do it and be done with it. But $15, if you're at all apprehensive about it, spend the $15. It's $5 more. Not a big deal. When you buy the carton of 3 or 4 or 6, you're like, oh, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
You're right. But it's over time that you're going to be using it. So just look at the per dose and say, hey, per dose, that's not a big deal. So you're going to apply these once a month. They go to their maximum dose when you apply them. And then throughout that whole month, it's slowly going away. So by the time you get to the end of the month, you're right at the edge of your dog's not treated. So that's when you treat it again and you bring it right back up to full dose. So that's how those topical products work. I do notice that one dog of mine is like, do it and I don't care. My cat is pretty much in that same boat. Do it and I don't care. I give them a treat after I do it so they know that treat is coming up. I do have one dog that gets a mild reaction, and it does say it on the packaging that a reaction might occur. In this case, it's a mild redness on the skin. She has white fur, and so you can see the pink skin, her undertones. And so I just noticed that it does get a little red after I apply it, but in about 3 or 4 days, it goes away. And so that I checked with the veterinarian. That's a mild reaction. Don't worry about it. For my case, if you notice anything more, then consult your veterinarian, again on that. So that's how I apply the topicals. If you find you have to bathe your dog or whatever extensively, read the directions on the package and follow that. But I believe you're going to read that you can apply it 1 week earlier if you sense that you need, a higher dose or whatever on that. There are treated collars. We've known this for many, many years. That in fact was the fur flea prevention a long time ago. Get the flea collar. They are
the what?
The flea collar.
The fur flea.
The flea collar. I'm saying it right here. I'm not sure.
I'm going to need an air check on this one. I think you said the fur flea.
Oh, maybe I had a stumble in my voice or something.
I'm going to leave that to the listeners to figure that one
They're
out.
going, Jerry, you're right. You stick with your. All right.
Quiet.
So the flea collars are something that's been around for a long time. Know that they were the best we had 40 years ago. Today, they're it's pretty poor as far as how well they work. However, 2 or 3 years ago, Serestro came out with a new improved flea collar. It's definitely more expensive, and though it lasts for 7 to 8 months. So it goes for a long period of time, but your dog has to have this collar on it the whole time. So some people have said, though, I don't have to remember it. I like that collar. It is about $60 to $80 depending on size and stuff. But realize you have 6 to 8 months worth of protection now. for your dog. So if that's another route, those have been very good in treatment with real good results as well. So don't go if it's cheap. You realize you're buying the old version and they don't work well. If it's that $60-$80 kind of collar, realize that's the new and improved one. They have updated the technology on it. It works a lot better. So that's collars. Shampoos and sprays that are out there. So let's say you have a special situation and I can't apply this. There are shampoos that have residual effect. It'll say it on the label. So make sure you read the label. If it says flea prevention, there are products out there that are really, really safe and herbal based and all that kind of stuff. They tend to not have any long lasting effect. It's just, whatever's on there right today, they're going to get rid of them. But the eggs that hatch and all that kind of stuff will continue to go. There are some sprays out there that are really good because they have a residual effect. So let's say you've applied your topical application, you notice a flea or two. I'm not quite where I need to be. I haven't waited my full 4 weeks yet. You can come back with a spray and dose it up a little bit. Again, use it per the directions on the bottle. And then there are the all natural products that are out there. These don't work as well. And that's just, scientifically proven, they just don't work as well. But I know there's a group of our population that says, well, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not putting poisons on my dog. And I get it. I understand where you're coming from. We have those in our store as well. So in sprays, in food additives and all that, most of them all say you better use this year around to get maximum protection. So even in the winter, actually the other ones say the same thing. And we're going to go on a caveat after this to talk about why that's the case. But there are some all-natural products out there that have some good claims. A lot of people are using them, and it's though you're kind of like 60% protected at that point is what I kind of get. So if you got to come back with something else, you might have to. Let's talk about restorative care. Hey, Ron, we found the flea. It's on there. I did everything you said.
The flea.
If you saw one flea, there are, hundreds more. You just aren't seeing them. They're crawling away before you can even get to where they were. There is a product out there called CapGuard that is really effective on killing every walking flea that's on your dog or cat. You go get it. It's a pill. You give it to them. And within the next 30 minutes, all the walking fleas die. It is one of those wow products. Like when you're in the trouble zone and you're like, oh, what do I do? I need relief. I need to give my dog relief. That's when they just start falling off and they're dead. And you're like, oh, good. And it is a multi-stage product where you're going to give it over a period of 6 days, one every other day kind of a thing. And so there is products out there if you're in trouble to help you get out of the trouble. Let's step back a little bit. How much time do we have?
About 5 minutes.
Excellent. Let's talk about the overall approach. So we talked about the prevention and a little bit on the restorative. Realize the flea cycle, how fleas live and all that kind of stuff. They love dogs and cats. They thrive on them. They reproduce on them. They don't reproduce on us. They'll bite us. They go, ooh, you don't taste good. I don't want to be around you. And then they jump off. Dogs and cats, they stay on there. And so when you find one flea, there are hundreds more underneath that fur. Some things to know: if you get infested in the house or on your or the dog or cat is infested, realize you want to continue to treat your dog or cat year around. Eggs are laid on your dog and cat, and most of these products can't get to them. They're under the skin or hidden in spore phase kind of a thing, so they can't get to them. So now you could be like, oh, we solved it. We don't see any more fleas. And you relieve the stress of the products that you've put on your dog or in the house. Well, now they come back out and they thrive. So in February, when it's sub-zero outside, it's still 72 degrees in your house. So the flea says, oh, springtime, I'm coming out. And then all of a sudden in February, you're going, how did I get fleas in the house again? It was the eggs that were on your dog. When your dog or cat are walking around your house and they're infested, they're like little salt shakers. They're just spreading the love all over your house. And so that's how it propagates out. And that's why it's important to treat your dog or cat, get that under control, and then start working on your house. There are products for your house if you are infested, the bombs, the sprays, the powders, but the research on that has shown you can pick up somewhere around 50% of the fleas that are in the carpeting with a vacuum cleaner. So just vacuum very frequently. It's where do you store the vacuum after you vacuumed them up is the question. And my thing is get it out in the garage or constantly replace the bag, because those are living fleas. Once you got them in there, they're going to want to start crawling back out again wherever you put that vacuum cleaner. So vacuuming is your number one. Good news. I got a vacuum cleaner. I can start today kind of a thing. If you have those little canister ones where it has that tray, you can get rid of most of them just by dumping out the tray, maybe rinsing it out as well. But know that it's also inside the filters and the tubing and all that kind of stuff. So if you got a garage, that might be a good place to go put the vacuum cleaner when you're not using it. And I'm talking 5 times a day vacuuming will really get things under control quickly, but get the dog or cat under control, because they're going to still be salt shakers throughout your house with fleas if you don't take care of them.
There it is in a nutshell. Any final thoughts?
No, that was it. I don't think anybody can hear anything more on it. I've heard enough of that flea and tick. Turn that radio down.
It's me the heebie-jeebies thinking
I
about
know
flies.
it does. Oh, and I've had fleas like bite my ankles and stuff, and it's just you're like oh, and then ticks. That's
no good.
My son found a tick on his something, I think on his arm, and we were out in the woods, and I came back in. I go, hey, check your body for ticks, all that kind of stuff, and he was down in the bathroom. We thought he was dying. Yeah. Woo, I got a tick in this case, and thankfully it was a minor situation. So
head over to petlandiowacity.com, your one stop to find out all about Petland, Eastside Iowa City. How can we see you, Ron? What are your store hours? Any fun specials going on this week?
Today's Sunday. We are open from noon until 6 p.m. And then weekdays, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. But today, noon until 6. We always have something fun going in there. If it's not playing with puppies, and kittens are on their way. I know everybody's been saying, where's your kittens? We do unplanned litters from the community, and there just has not been any. But we do have a line on, I think it's about 13 kittens right now. So in another week or two, we'll have those in there. But all of our dog food's on that buy 10, get 1 free program. And you cannot beat a $5 nail trim. And we do that. No appointments necessary at the store.
And one final, very important thought from me to you. Do you know what it is?
It's the stumper. I don't know.
Nope. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, it is.
We didn't mention it the entire show. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. Today's Father's Day.
Take your dad to Petland and let him have some fun playing with all the animals and reptiles and fish.
There it is. Head over to petlandiowacity.com. Once again, thank you, Ron Solzrud from East Iowa City, Petland. It's the Positively Petland Show every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock on Iowa City's news and sports station, 800 KXIC. Have a great week.
Thanks.